So I created a new kind of exercise. I don't know if there's a name for it, but it's basically an exercise that's in between something like Pilates, yoga, and resistance. Anyways, the point of it is to basically remap the body in weird ways, and you're moving around in ways you don't normally move around. So that's what the whole point of it is. So anyways, it's something like this. For instance, even just doing something like this, and I wouldn't normally do this, right? So it's like if you're shaving your arm or your leg or shaving your chin even, you're doing things that you're not normally in that position. And so you're basically opening up sort of a mapping system to remap the whole of the body is my theory. And it doesn't involve any like super strenuous exercise, but it's a kind of exercise. So I'm giving it a label as like micro exercises or zero gravity exercises, because you're not really focusing on putting resistance. You're more focusing on just developing the nervousness in the nervous system so that it can kind of recalibrate. So in other words, here's another example. If I put my hands together like this and I go like this is a form of one. And then if I contract that and I press in, so it's something like stretching as well. And so another one is I would grab my arm and I would just try to reach my shoulder blade on the left side. And I would do the same thing. I would go over here and I would try to reach my shoulder blade on the left side. You're just sort of opening up your body in weird ways. Grab this part of your heel and, it makes you kind of pivot. And another one is to artificially do things. So if I'm artificially going to sit down, except I'm going to do it in a diagonal, so I'm sitting down in this direction. And then I do it again on the opposite side, for the balance. And what the whole point of this is to basically get the blood to flow with more loose quality, so that you don't get any kind of like knots in your system, so that you don't have like a compression, for instance. So that's the whole point of it. And it's all kinds of weird things, just doing simple exercises like, you grab your ear and you pull your ear down and just going down along your throat. Of course, everything you do involving exercise, do it with a doctor's approval. Don't listen to me. See what they have to say about these sorts of things. It's just something I noticed that, for instance, when you go to the doctor, they'll have you doing all kinds of weird stuff if you have some issue, and you'll be in a weird acrobatic sort of position, okay? And so this isn't something you normally do, and even just sometimes having that little difference can kind of decompress, is my theory. And you'll notice a difference in the next day, similar to like when you stretch, but it's not quite as strenuous as stretching, to where you really will feel a difference. It could be detrimental even if you stretch too much. Whereas this is, let's just talk a little micro exercise, especially for people who work at desks and things like that. So here's another one. This is critical to the mapping. Okay, so I would take my finger and just go all along the outer perimeter of my whole body. Just go all along and up and down. The other finger, do the same thing. Just going all around. It's not a massage, and you're just kind of retracing the mapping system of your body. And my thinking is that it helps to improve the mind-body connection in a new way. So it's nothing that's like, the idea of mind-body is not new, but the idea of coming at it in another direction is what I'm saying is new here. So, even something as simple as, these are things I did automatically for many years, and I just thought it might be interesting to put this out there. Maybe there's an actual name for this stuff. For instance, people know about eye exercises, and that's kind of an example of what we're talking about, where you look far away and then you look at something close, and it helps to, exercise your eyes in theory. But another one you can do is, you're just holding your head still and you're moving your eyes around, like this. And, just doing that in repetitions is turning it into an exercise. So stuff like that, grab the back of your ear with the opposite arm. You're just doing strength. And so what also happens there is, it's kind of like when you lay down on the floor and you realize, oh man, my back's out of whack. And so it's sort of doing that, because if you go and you reach around and you say, wait a minute, why is there resistance? it wakes up your body, in my thinking, to realize that you have to, recalibrate those nervous areas, those nerve areas. So that's all this is about. It may or may not be of any use or of any interest. It's just something I happen to notice. Subtle things you can do. Like, for instance, a lot of times pianists, they'll automatically want to do stuff like this, for their hands. And another thing is like the carpal tunnel. So one of the things you would do to reverse that, in theory, was like to hold your arm like this, your hand like this. And so you're kind of opening up the pathways in theory. So this is an extension of that kind of thinking to put you in strange predicaments. And this looks funny on camera probably, but so that you're not always, in this rigid state where all is predictable. And instead you have to sort of act like you're in water. And so you kind of think that there is actual like an atmosphere around you. But if you think about how you move in water and how it's more like fluids, so like Bruce Lee said, be like water and things like that. So it's like you can kind of feel more to your system than you would normally pay attention to. So it's getting you to reassess the whole system versus your select moves that you do to make it throughout the day. I'll leave it at that. Bye.